Right, all you up-all-nighters, you insomniatic TV watchers, gamers, grapplers, and drivers, and especially you streetlight crusaders from all around the world. Welcome to the 5:21 in the morning edition of the Tuesday Night Special. I am your insomniatic host from the East Coast, DJ Smokey, bringing you the best from the North, Southeast, and West that the world of music, games, and wrestling has to offer. And seeing the fact that we're here on the first Tuesday night of this quarter century of a year, we might as well waste no time to explain to you guys what we got prepared for this very special late night fighting edition of the Tuesday Night Special. Because we kick things off with what happened during this week's edition of Monday Night Raw on Netflix from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California. You know, I thought it was Vegas. I guess I was wrong. Next up on the plate, we go into a very special Karate Dog action edition of the As Seen on TV. And according to Carl and the Mike Show, they've been waiting for me to mention this show for 4 years now. Really, 4 years? Yikes! Also, besides that, we go ahead and check out some video game hits, clips, while scratching that indie itch and checking out some nominees from the world of Cade for another edition of the Cade Triple S Deluxe. Then we find out what sort of crazy weather we got to look forward to for the first full week of this new year, and what sort of new outfit Dan the Weatherman Stu's got up his sleeve to match with it for another edition of the weather update. And according to Carl and the Maestro, his outfit may have blown away in the wind. All right, I believe that. And finally, last but not least, and hopefully before the morning sun rises, we wrap up this show yet another edition of the Indy Report, which is me giving you guys 2 news stories followed up by local concert information from local artists performing in local area live near you. I guess with that said, I might as well tell Carl and the Maestro to kick up the beats, crank out the tunes, and most importantly, let that New Year's confetti rain. I don't care if it's late into the year already, or the month, according to what you said earlier, because it's time for us to bring some fun and delight on your street-lit, moonlit New Year Tuesday night, only here, right here on the Tuesday Night Special. So let's get this streetlight show started, folks. Alright, all you streetlight crusaders, and I guess a couple of you wrestling fans who are still up for tonight, Happy New Year and welcome back to the Tuesday Night Special. And now it's time for us to talk about what happened during the first Raw of the new year and for Netflix from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California, where the stars are brightest in the City of Angels. I don't know why I'm doing a thumbs up right now, but I feel like I need to. And Carl and the Maestro say if you look carefully enough above our heads, we might see that NBC, the more you know, above our heads right now. But we didn't give a fact about that. Well, besides all that, folks, Monday Night Raw on Netflix would kick off with not only a video montage of how the evolution of Monday Night Raw from cable to phones and wherever else it may have been, with a beautiful canvas painted, as we would see Triple H in the center of the ring with pyrotechnics not only wanting to hear how loud it is in the arena to let people at home know and a bunch of new eyes who'll be watching the product know how loud and how serious the fans are for the WWE. And then would ask everybody if they were ready, and then would welcome everybody to the Netflix era. And would have a boatload of pyro in the center of the ring that I hope Triple H was able to get out of the way of. Seriously, how much pyro was there? It almost reminded me of that one episode of Monday Night Raw where JBL announced his return and they had pyrotechnics all over the place for that. But Triple H, or should I say JBL, wasn't in the middle of the ring for it. Or, the pyro thing wasn't in the middle. Either way you look at it, folks, after we would see that, lights will go out. Next thing you know, if you smell, and here comes the People's Champ, The Rock. And the People's Champ with the belt that he would have, and the belt that would be given to his daughters. Only for us to find out that now, none other than The Rock can now go as the High Chief Phooey. And we would get a choo-hoo in the crowd for that from the fans. And he would talk about the times as he grew up as a kid, having to either watch wrestling, either if he had to get a ticket or watch it on Saturday. But now, the fact that you can get a ticket or watch it on Netflix or on a tiny television set is awesome. And would say that this would be the largest gate in the history for the WWE. And would then say, I know you guys didn't come here for any of this BS, and decided to thank the people of Netflix, but if The Rock comes out blurry, he's gonna go Squid Games on their candy asses. And then would follow things up by even thanking Cody Rhodes, the man who led them to the new era that they're in right now, and would say, oh yeah, Cody, tell Mama Rhodes I said hello. And then would immediately thank Roman Reigns and would call him the original tribal chief, and he'll be watching his match closely if you smell what The Rock is cooking. And would do the whole eyebrow thing before we would go into our first match of the night, which would be none other than Solo Sikoa going one-on-one against the original tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns, in tribal combat. Now, to show you that they are in the Netflix era, we originally would not hear any sort of profanity or anything like that. The holy shit chants you would usually hear would get censored out, but you can hear as clear as day well over 17,000 fans saying F you Solo, and for this match to kick off with Solo getting a big advantage, not only using monitors, using stairs, using chairs, kendo sticks, and would even hit a low blow and a spinning solo during this match for near fall. Only for none other than the tribal chief, or the original tribal chief, they hit a power bomb to Solo through a table, only for Tama Tonga to break it up. And then we would even see Jacob Fatu getting involved in this match, taking it to him with not only an Impaler DDT, a step-up moonsault, and Solo adding the spike, still for a near fall, only for the referee to get spiked. And then for Sami Zayn and Jimmy to make their way out to the ring to help out the tribal chief, or the original tribal chief, with a haluva kick and a super kick combination with a spear, still leading to a near fall. And we would even see none other than Kevin Owens unleashing his rage on the original tribal chief with a stunner, trying to prevent him from getting into power. No dice. But when he would try to go for that package pile driver, Cody Rhodes would make his way out, hit him with a KO cutter, or a Cody color that nearly knocked him out, for them to fight off into the crowd. But this match would come to an emphatic end, and the tribal chief would be reigning supreme because, I said reigning supreme because Roman would hit a spear and then follow it up with yet another for Solo, and for him to acknowledge Roman as the tribal chief via pinfall. But somebody a little bit more important would make their way to the ring to acknowledge the fact that he is now the official tribal chief, none other than the People's Champ, The Rock, giving Roman the Ulafau, a handshake, and even a hug, as he would be able to be the new tribal chief. But as we would see Roman Reigns backstage getting hyped up by Paul Heyman saying, we need a stage for you to show people that you need to be acknowledged. We need a podium. We need a platform. Where are you going to do that? And for Roman Reigns to say January 28th. And then for him to close the door to reveal 2K25. Now, I would be excited for that, but the second they fix universe mode and create an arena, I might be a little bit excited for that. Even though they showed screenshots, yeah, we'll wait till the 28th before we really deep dive into that. But before then, folks, we would immediately see the New Day coming out to try to speak and immediately would get booed. For Kofi to say that we were supposed to have a match, but we told Triple H that they don't want to be here. And you guys don't deserve to have a rap or any form of match with us in it. And would immediately mention some rappers that would not, please the crowd all too much. And then would continue their shenanigans backstage by even interrupting Fluffy's time. And Gabriel Enrique Iglesias? No, I'm getting them confused. Not Enrique Iglesias, the singer. Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, interrupted his time for him to say New Day sucks. And when they finally got time after Raw went off the air, they would say, you know what? We got a red eye to catch. We don't have time for you. How do you like that? How does that feel? And then would just walk away. And how Big E feels about all this, because he was on the post panel, he would say, I don't know this New Day that is now, but they haven't held tag team gold in a while. I'm hoping for all the success in the world for them, and they need to get out of this stint where they're bitching and moaning and try to get on top of the tag team division or get some gold around their waist. See, even after he got kicked out, still supports them. Tells you a lot. Really does. Then immediately after that, folks, we would see John Cena making his way to the ring with fans singing his song and even a drone display outside for John Cena for his farewell tour. And thank you, Cena, aplenty for the night, and he would thank Netflix for letting the world see how Raw is, and would thank Raw for letting him be here for one last time, and he can't think of a better place than here in LA. This is where it all started. Well, technically Madison Square Garden when he beat The Big Show at WrestleMania 20, but the fact that he got his first world championship here in Los Angeles at WrestleMania 21 against John Bradshaw Layfield. So he can't think of a better place to start off his farewell tour in the place where he got his first world title. And then he would hear people talking about the headlines of who he's possibly gonna face for his last match. But he said, when does John Cena become a 17-time world champion? And he said, no, he doesn't see it happen. He's been on a losing streak that's been 4 years long now. And would immediately say that, there's only a certain amount of ways I can get in. I could be in the chamber. I can go and try to fight my way up to the ranks. Or I could get that lottery ticket. I could try to be a part of the Royal Rumble. And as a matter of fact, I could be in the Royal Rumble. And not only I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble, I'm going to win it. And then immediately would be the first man to declare himself a part of the said Royal Rumble match, which The Miz was not too happy about and would try to challenge against Cena. But yeah, let's just say that, Karrion Kross wouldn't allow that to happen. For The Miz to say that he was done with the said Wyatt 6, only for Karrion Kross to hype him up and lead him to a Looney Tunes situation. Are you The Miz? Yes. Did you beat John Cena? Yes. Are you gonna help us fight the Wyatts? Yes. No. And yeah, now he's stuck in it again. Man, that guy cannot catch a break. He really can't, but he seems to put his foot in his mouth more often than most. But hey, at least he said that he beat John Cena, and because he's The Miz and he's awesome. But I got a feeling with that flickering message of Uncle Howdy that several people didn't see due to the fact of Netflix commercials, I don't know how much longer you're gonna be awesome for, buddy. But outside of that, folks, and speaking of things that was awesome, the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would see none other than Liv Morgan going one-on-one against Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. And with Liv Morgan bringing Raquel Rodriguez and Dirty Dominic Mysterio to try to help out and try to stop him, or stop none other than Rhea Ripley from trying to win this match. Not only grabbing her leg, Dominic Mysterio in that case, and even seeing none other than Raquel Rodriguez sliding a chair in the ring for a perfectly placed Oblivion to hit for a near fall. This match would come to an emphatic end with not one, but yet two separate riptides from the former world champion to win this match and regain the championship she never truly lost via pinfall. But after the match was over, we would immediately see Dominic trying to go in for a hug to let bygones be bygones. But yeah, instead we would see Rhea splitting the uprights and kicking them right in the huevos, or the cojones, whichever one is appropriate for Dom, but I got a feeling the cojones got turned into huevos after that kick that made him say, "Ay Dios mío," for him to go and get a riptide of his own, and for Rhea to make her way up the ramp, try to celebrate with the belt, but before she could properly do that, what would happen next? The gong would go off, and the dead man cometh here in Los Angeles. And the dead man would ride his bike to the ring, circle around the ring, and for Rhea to say, "I didn't see this coming, let me shine up the belt real nice for him." For Rhea to pose with The Undertaker doing the classic American Badass pose that The Undertaker would do on the bike with plenty of pyrotechnics to celebrate Rhea Ripley's title win in a very surprising fashion. Nice. And after that bit of celebration, folks, we would take things backstage because Adam Pearce, who would be talking to Bayley, most likely about the superstar trade, and I don't know, I don't think the superstars trade is going to matter any if the draft is going to take place after WrestleMania. I mean, that's just about 102 days away. That'll be here before you know it. But before we get and cross that bridge, before we get there, folks, putting the cart before the horse, we would hear from Chad Gable saying that he wants to fight the best luchador you got next week. And yeah, Adam Pearce would say, "I got to make a phone call. You got it." And after the picture of some guy with a sugar skull mask, I got a feeling I know who it may be, and he might have cero miedo for Chad Gable when he fights him most likely next week. And then immediately after that, folks, we would see Travis Scott, who was just about to perform his song 4x4 until "It's Just Me, Oos." Jey Uso making its way out to the ring, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole yeeting it out on the desk, and that's the last time I'll say that, but with Pat McAfee just dancing on that desk and Michael Cole winded after dancing, and I don't blame him. It's been a hell of a night on Monday Night Raw, but boy, what a magical moment that was. But that magic would soon turn into a broken dream because the next match that would take place, folks, would be none other than Drew McIntyre going one-on-one against Jey Uso. Now, before Drew could even get to the ring, Jey would decide to give a preemptive strike in the form of a tope suicida to the outside of the ring, but before he could do a second one, he would get hit against the said ring apron and tossed over toward the upper part of the ramp. And during this match where the power game would reign supreme, even though Jey Uso would hit a super kick for a near fall, Drew McIntyre would strike back with not only a spine buster and power bomb, both of them leading into near falls, even the Future Shock DDT still a near fall, spear by Jey Uso, nothing, Claymore, no dice. But ultimately, this match would come to an emphatic end after Drew McIntyre would get a little bit too full of himself. And as my sister told me before, what I tell you about showboating, and what she usually tell me about showboating, that it usually leads to your downfall. And in this case, it would for none other than Drew McIntyre. because as he would try to go for another Claymore, he would get rolled up into a crucifix. And for Jey Uso to win this match, leave out of the ring, have his music play, and the fans more or less doing that Jey Uso dance right in the face of Drew McIntyre, who has nobody to blame but himself, via pinfall. And immediately after that match was over, and with several people making an appearance, including Hulk Hogan, which he said something about the new Netflix era and a brother Jack here and there, with Jimmy Hart waving an American flag, we would then head directly into our main event of the evening, which would see none other than Seth Rollins going one-on-one against CM Punk, which I find it funny he went back to wearing his original jacket from Ring of Honor, but at the same time still came out to Cult of Personality, and not the song that all the indie fans out there hoped he came out to, but I still say it's a win. He came out to Cult of Personality. That was another song he used in Ring of Honor, but I digress, because during this match, the second that bell rang, it got ugly. Not only we would see Seth Rollins doing a go to sleep during this match for near fall, and two separate pedigrees onto the table, or should I say a pedigree on the table and a pedigree inside the ring, still leading to a near fall. Even pulling off or more or less CM Punk pulling off a stomp of his own during this match, still for a near fall, and as well as Seth Rollins pulling off a stomp, but Seth Rollins not seeing the foot on the rope of CM Punk, leading into a near fall. But ultimately, this match would come to an emphatic end, along with this 10-year-long rivalry, seeing CM Punk hit him with not one, but back up on his shoulders again and ready to go to sleep in the City of Angels, with a secondary go to sleep for the Monday Night Messiah and the Visionary to lose vision and lose this match via pinfall. Only for CM Punk to say on the post that age is nothing but a number, and that he may be this years old, but he's number one, best in the world, and that title sticks. And for, I guess, Seth Rollins to find out what he's gonna do next on Raw, because he just lost to a guy that he called out and said that he was gonna burn to the ground, but it appears to be the Second City Saint, comes from Chicago, which, seeing the fact that the Chicago Fire rose them back up from the ashes, got a feeling it did the same thing for Punk. But what will happen next week on Monday Night Raw? Will we see the Wyatt Six make an appearance on Netflix to try to haunt Karrion Kross and company? Will we see a brand new Intercontinental Women's Champion from Damage Control, or will it be a Valkyrie? And what of Chad Gable? Will he be fighting a legendary luchador from way back when, from a Lucha Underground series we only saw 2 episodes of? And what of the world title scene? Who will be next to fight Gunther leading into the Rumble? We find out the answers to that and more next week for another Netflix-filled edition of Monday Night Raw. But until then, folks, I think it's time for us to go grab a glass of water, and when we return, we'll be back with more of the Tuesday Night Special right after this. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Right, all you Insomniac TV channel surfers out there tonight, welcome back to the Tuesday Night Special. And now it's time for us to go into yet another Insomniac hard-hitting edition of the As Seen on TV, and the show we have up for this week to kick off this year of the Fist of Television. is none other than the #1 super guy himself, Hong Kong Phooey. And Carl and the Maestro cheering over in the corner, and I'm not kidding you right now, they're wearing the gi and the actual headband that he wore. That is insane, but they're in love with this show, and I don't blame them. And the meat and potatoes for this said show would feature none other than the lovable janitor who would work for a local police station, answering the call to take out criminals while undercover as Hong Kong Phooey. And we had to make sure we didn't reveal the identity of who he is, so Carl and the Maestro didn't want to get spoiled for that, so we had to not include it. But between me and you at home, the lovable janitor Henry Pooch, who would be the janitor who would be Hong Kong Phooey. But don't tell Carl and the Maestro. Now, outside of that, folks, what did I love about this said show? Well, first off, the theme by Hoyt Curtin. And why? Because it's an awesome theme song for the #1 super guy of Hong Kong Phooey, which is awesome. And not to mention, the opening theme was sung by none other than the man who played Hong Kong Phooey, none other than Scatman Crothers. Now, we know we usually go in order of revealing who we liked a part of this show, but yes, Scatman Crothers did the theme song for Hong Kong Phooey. And not to mention, was a part of the Laugh Olympics, even played Scat Cat in The Aristocrats, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as Turkle, and also Halloran in The Shining and the other version of The Shining as well too. And even played Mr. Bloom in a Twilight Zone film. Nice! But his last role would be Jazz, a part of Transformers: The Return of Optimus Prime in 1987. And next up, you would have none other than Joe E. Ross. I'm not kidding, Carl and the Maestro, that's his actual name. Who would play none other than Sergeant Flint for 16 episodes, a part of Hong Kong Phooey, and Scatman Struthers playing the janitor and Hong Kong Phooey for 16 episodes as well, just in case I forgot to mention it. But John E. Ross would also be responsible for Car 54, Where Are You, as Officer Gunther Tootie for 60 episodes. Would even play a detective in The Love Bug in 1969, be a part of The Love Boat as Mr. Ross for 1 episode, and even a part of the Phil Rivers Show as Sergeant Rupert Ritznick. Or Ritznick? Or according to Carl and the Maestro, we were right with the second one, right? Then you have none other than Kathy Gorey, who would not only play the lovable operator Rosemary for 16 episodes, but would also be a part of none other than the ABC Saturday Superstars show as Frances Gidget Lawrence for 1 episode. And even a part of the new Tom and Jerry show that aired in 1975 to 1977. And oh, before I forget, was also a part of the Valley of the Dinosaurs for 16 episodes as well too. Oh, and get this, Carl and the Maestro, also a part of the Partridge Family 2200 AD as Lori Partridge. Oh, and before I forget, was also Lori featured in Inch High Private Eye for 13 episodes. Next up on the plate, you have none other than Don Messick, who would not only be a part of The Last Unicorn in 1982, as well as being Hampton J. Pig, a part of Tiny Toon Adventures, Scooby-Doo, a part of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Astro, Rudy, and Mac, a part of the Jetsons for 72 episodes. Even featured as Dr. Benton Quest, not only a part of Johnny Quest, but also a part of the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest for 4 episodes. And before I forget, was also Dr. Vernon Danger, a part of 1 episode of Freakazoid. And played the Corporal, a part of 1 episode of Two Stupid Dogs. Next up on the list, you have none other than Gene Vanderbilt, who played none other than the woman we mentioned before, and according to Carlin Maestro, Rosemary for 2 episodes of Hong Kong Phooey, but would also be responsible for none other than Mrs. Filspur, a part of the Flintstones in ~94. Even playing Wilma and Pebbles, a part of 167 episodes of the Flintstones, and a part of the spy Flintstone film called The Man Called Flintstone, and was even a part of the Jetsons as Rosie the Robot for 58 episodes. Insane. Then you have none other than Dawes Butler, who would not only, according to Carl and the Maestro, be Big Duke for 1 episode, but would also be a part of, and get this folks, none other than Yogi Bear as Yogi Bear, and even a part of Hey There, It's Yogi Bear. Even Elroy Jetson from the Jetsons, and Beanie a part of Time for Beanie, and even was a part of the soundtrack for the 2017 film of Cars 3. Now, before I forget, I'm pretty sure he was also a part of Quick Draw McGraw, but according to Colin the Maestro, no, he wasn't. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure he was a part of it. And they said no, he was not. All right, now if I find out later he was, I'm gonna laugh. But either way you look at it, folks, next up you have Ed Peck, who would not only be a part of The Last Unicorn as Jack Jingley and Killy's Men in 1982, but was also a part of Heaven Can't Wait in 1978 as a trainer, and was even featured during 1 episode of Star Trek as Colonel Fellini. And finally, last but not least, none other than Lenny Winberg, who would not only be a part of the Shogun Assassin as a character, a part of it in 1980, but also played H.R. Pufnstuf for 17 episodes, and was even a part of Wait Till Your Father Gets Home for 39 episodes as Chet Boyle. Now, one of my favorite characters during this said show would have to be Spot. And the reason why, because Spot would always help Hong Kong Phooey out of a spot. And what do I mean by that, folks? Whether if he gets stuck inside of a file cabinet, or during the first episode where he would jump out of a 3rd-story window into a pile of tires and bounce into a garbage can to get rolled back to the police station before the detectives or anybody else finds out, so he can continue to clean things. Yeah, so yeah, Spot. And I can see the reason why he's called Spot, to get him out of a spot. And seeing the fact that this show would originally debut as of September 7th of 1974, and unfortunately couldn't make it out of the year of 1974, only lasting for another 3 more months and change until December 21st of 1974. And with this show having well over 16 episodes, spanned over 1 season, and with well over 31 segments, and seeing the fact that we don't know how to review shows along the lines of TV Guide or any of those other TV reviewers you know of out there, we say this. If you guys want to go ahead and watch a show that features a cool dog with a cool cat trying to make sure that crime gets taken out one karate chop, punch, kick, or possibly even a tiger knee at a time, with plenty of characters from different shows from the Hanna-Barbera universe lending in a hand, then I recommend you go out there, pick up your TV channel remotes, and watch that show. And trust me, folks, just like Hong Kong Phooey would say, yeah, hoo, yeah. And I don't know what it says, but I guess that means it must be awesome. And I guess with that said, folks, I think it's time for us to head back into the music once again. And when we return, we'll be back with more of the Tuesday Night Special right after this. So don't go watching reruns of Seinfeld just yet, folks, and stay tuned. And we're back with the Insomniatic Show, celebrating a Kung Fu show going 50 years strong, only known as the Tuesday Night Special. And the reason why we say that, folks, is because Carl and the Maestro still believes it's on the air to this very day, and technically it is. If you search hard enough, you will find it. But on a television set, you're gonna really have to find it. One of those low number channels, maybe 3 or 2, or dare I say 1. And yes, Carl and the Maestro, the channel number 1 actually does exist. So does the channel 0, which I never knew, but if you look carefully enough, you'll find it. You'll find it. And speaking of carefully looking for things, folks, to find things, I think it's time for us to check out a couple of those video game hits, clips, as well as nominees, and scratching that indie itch you've got at home for a very special quarter-of-a-century year kickoff edition of the Indycade Triple S Deluxe. And we kick things off with the art wall. And the art wall picture we have up for this week comes from the developers White Owls Inc. with their said game of Hotel Barcelona. Oh, nice name for the game. And the screenshot that they provided for this week, and boy oh boy, what a hell of a screenshot, shows our hero or heroine trying to fight against a giant enemy by the name of Jacob, which is wearing a giant oversized baseball umpire outfit, holding on to the world's biggest iron metal baseball bat you have ever seen. With 9 minutes and 4 seconds left on the clock, only 22% health left in your said health bar. And of course, with the visitor team scoring 1 point, home team having 2 points, 3 balls, 1 strike, and no outs on this baseball field that they're fighting on right now as we speak. And according to Carl and the Maestro, this game reminds them of No More Heroes. I would have to agree. I really do. And here's hoping in the near future for this set game that not only you get a chance to upgrade your weaponry to take out that guy, but maybe get a couple of things from his inventory that'll help you become strong enough to fight whatever else is waiting for you in this Smash TV-like universe. And the reason why we're saying that, folks at home, is because there's a different door set you can go through on the upper right-hand corner of the screen that I almost said left. And with that, folks, we now make our way directly on over towards the sound wall. And the sound we have up for this week comes from none other than Greg McCallick with their said sound of, and according to Carl and the Maestro, of Boiling Point, with their said song from the video game Boiling Point from the developers of Boiling Point Games, according to Carl and the Maestro. Alright? But when I close my eyes while listening into this sound, it automatically reminds me of the show that the PR department, as well as Carl and Maestro, used to host called Key Fighters. Now, if you think at home that it involves you trying to unlock doors to different areas of homes, you're wrong. It was actually a martial arts show that they used to host where they would find out who was the strongest warrior that can kick through those said doors. And I can see the reason why it didn't last too long, because I do believe one person who tried to kick through the door barefoot broke his toe, and they had to stop the show completely. And that was mostly because you guys used iron doors for the final round, thinking that their kung fu was that good to try to kick through a door made of metal. What is wrong with you? But besides Carl and the Maestro still paying the hospital bills for that guy and his broken foot on a metal door, we now make our way on over to the Screenshot Saturday Showcase for this week, which comes from the developers, once again, White Owls Inc., with their said game of The Good Life. And this is a first, folks. It's the first time we've ever mentioned a game a part of the art wall and the Screenshot Saturday Showcase from the same developer. Nice! And the screenshot that they provided for this week shows our heroine talking to apparently an armored suit man by the name of Douglas McAvoy and telling him that he's the premier carpenter of this hamlet. Overlooking what appears to be some form of, well, we might as well call it a hamlet, with a bunch of trees in the far-off distance, and of course some form of wagon next to some hay bales in the far-off distance as well too, that I got a feeling serves some form of purpose. And this game automatically reminds me of a combination of not only Case Close, but also a little hint of No One Lives Forever. Don't know why, but I'm pretty sure she might be the mother of that girl from that game. Who knows? Now, here's hoping in the near future with this set game that not only you get a lovable sidekick to help you on your crime-solving mysteries, but maybe, just maybe, a chance to try on that suit of armor. And according to Call Into My Show, no, it's his. And you can't wear it. Okay, well, here's hoping he can smith me one. You know, because since he's a carpenter of the hamlet, he might be able to do that. And Call Into My Show asks me, do I know what a carpenter is? Yes, I do. He makes scary movies. And besides them rolling their eyes at that comment, it's now time for us to head into 3 more games from the nominee list from the Cade Festival of Games. And the first game that we have up comes from none other than Darren Keller with their set game of Dawnfolk, which was nominated for a Systematic Design Award. Then from the developers Old Dog Games and Evil Hat Productions, nice name by the way, for the developer team, nominated for the tabletop design Deathmatch Island. And finally, from none other than the most ancient developers with their said game by the name of Diatribes, which is currently nominated for the Impact Award. And with that said, folks, it's time for us to go into a couple of games to scratch that indie itch you've got at home. Call Into My Show said they're getting the games as we speak, and the first game that we have up, and now they're saying drum roll please, of course. But the first game we have up comes from none other than 7 Coconuts. 7 Coconuts with their set game of 7 Cocos Demo 2 Pizza Tower. Then from the developers Fallen H3 with their set game of the Knight's Retirement Quest. Then from the developers Brian Is My Go with their set game of Revenge for Sekikyo. And the last but not least game we have up to scratch that indie itch you've got at home to kick off this year comes from none other than Mandrilli with their set game of Ayudante Virtual Oficina. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out any other cool indie games that are still making their way to scratch that indie itch you got in the middle of the night, day, or afternoon, then you can go ahead and check it out on the Indie Itch page of one man only known as itch.io under the games section to check out all of those cool games for yourselves. And trust me folks, there's a million of them and you may be there for a while. And if you also want to go ahead and check out some more games featured a part of the art wall, sound wall, screenshot Saturday showcase, or even have your games featured over there as well, then you can go ahead and head on over to the IndieCade.tumblr page of one man only known as IndieCade.tumblr.com, or head on over to their Facebook page known as IndieCade, or even their Twitter, Flickr, Instagram, YouTube, Soundcloud, Steam Machine, or website that are all named the same, but it's just as critically acclaimed, only known as, you guessed it folks, IndieCade. And I guess with that said, I think it's time for us to head back to that music and continue to listen into these diamonds in the rough as we try to turn your Tuesday night into a Friday night, only here right here on the Tuesday Night Special. So don't head downstairs for that pre or post midnight snack just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Right, all you Streetlight Crusaders, welcome back to the Tuesday Night Special. And apparently, according to Carl and the Maestro, the upload schedule for you YouTube fans out there will always be 24 hours after the episode release. Even though Carl and the Maestro believe for the Tuesday Night Special it should be at least 3 to 5 hours afterwards, but that would be technically in the afternoon or sunrise. So yeah, we'll try to find a way to definitely get it to you guys before the end of this week, because apparently, according to Carl and the Maestro, madness might be around the corner sooner than you think, and it might clash with that YouTube upload for the Tuesday Night Special. But don't worry, we'll find a way. We always do. Well, besides clashing of shows, folks, I think it's time for us to look at a clash of colors, because what in the world are you wearing, Dan the Weatherman Stu? And yeah, let me give him the proper introduction, because it's the first time he's doing this in the quarter of a century. So none other than Dan the Weatherman Stu here to deliver the 5-day weather forecast for this week. Now, Dan the Weatherman Stu, why did you think yellow and orange was a beautiful color combination with a splash of green and, is that turquoise, for an outfit? And the microphone is all yours. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world, it's your boy from Chicago, Illinois, Dan the Weatherman Stu, here to bring you a 5-day weather forecast for this week. And don't blame me, DJ Smokey. This is the new fashion line for Dan the Weatherman Stu called Stu Clothing Disco Plastic. It's the best. Did you just drop an ad on here for your clothing line? And I got a feeling we're going to hear it again at the Indy Awards, aren't we? As a matter of fact, yes, you are. I got a script for you to read for that day. Check it out. Okay. All right. There is no way in the world I'm calling you the king of disco. There was several other people, including John Travolta at one point, who might have usurped you in that crown. Did you see that commercial he was dancing around as Santa Claus? Before we go any deeper into that conversation of who's the true king of disco around here, could you do me a favor? Seeing the fact that you got here late this week, could you do the weather? Please, could you do the weather? I said please. Out of the kindness of my heart, go do the weather. All right. So for tonight, that's right, Tuesday night, it's gonna be a low of 18 degrees. Cloudy skies all around with winds going west, northwest at 13 miles per hour. Get a sweater. And on Wednesday, another cold day for you, because it's gonna be a high of 26. Low of 17, mostly sunny skies with winds going west, northwest at 20 miles per hour. And on Thursday, the cold streak continues, because it's going to be a high of 31, low of 21, partly cloudy skies with winds going northwest at 22 miles per hour. Hold on to your hats. And on Friday, start of the snowy weekend, baby. Because it's going to be a high of 37, low of 23. Partly cloudy skies with winds going northwest at 10 miles per hour. And on Saturday, the snow I was talking about, cause it's gonna be a high of 36, low of 23. Morning snow showers at 44%, with winds going west, northwest at 9 miles per hour. And on Sunday, not a sunny day at all, cause it's gonna be a high of 36, low of 22. Mostly sunny skies with winds going northwest at 8 miles per hour. But the cold might block out the sun. And now you know, cause I've gotta go, because I am Dan the Weatherman Stewart. I am through for the weather broadcast for this week. And now back to the man who's trying out my coat with both hands, DJ Smokey for the Tuesday Night Special. Yeah. All right, Dan the Weatherman Stu. You know, I looked at this coat, the fact that it lights up and the different parts looks like your face in the said coat itself with the lights. You know, I think it looks good. Looks good. And to quote Bruce, it looks good on you, not on me. I mean, I have a different sense of fashion, but, you know, it looks good on you. Don't worry, DJ Smokey, I made an outfit especially for you for the Indy Awards for this year. Can't wait to show it to ya. Dad, what am I do out? Hey. I didn't ask you to design me a suit. I got people for that. Where you think you're going? And he's gone. And I got a feeling I'm going to wear something along the lines of the Technicolor Dream Coat by the time this is all said and done. For the Indy Awards, I got a feeling that's going to happen. But before I worry about what sort of fashionable Project One-Way outfit Dan the Weatherman Stu's got cooked up for me, I think it's time for us to head back into those tunes. And when we return, we'll be back with another edition of the Indy Report right after this. So don't fall asleep just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Right, all you Streetlight Crusaders, welcome back to the Tuesday Night Special. And apparently, according to Carl and the Maestro, whatever sort of outfit Dan the Weatherman Stu's got cooked up, it somehow is going to involve a cape. I don't know how in the world I'm going to be able to get on the microphone and sit in this chair while wearing a cape, but, you know, I've worn a full suit before, so I think I can pull off a cape. Who am I kidding? What in the world is he thinking with a cape? Whatever. You know, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But besides getting ready to cross a bridge that apparently that Carl and the Maestro has built out of a fashion outfit with ideas from Dan the Weatherman Stu, I think it's time for us to go into one of my favorite parts of the show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, none other than the Indy Report, which is me giving you guys 2 news stories followed up by local concert information from local artists performing in a local area live near you. And in our first news story and in wrestling news, for you fans out there wondering where in the world the Royal Rumble is going to take place next year, well, wonder no more. Because one thing we forgot to mention during the recap for Monday Night Raw this week is that in 2026, the Royal Rumble is going to be going to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So this would make it the first time that the actual factual Royal Rumble will take place overseas. And I'm surprised. I thought of all the places they would go for the Royal Rumble would probably be London or most likely France. And the reason why? Because of the reaction AJ Styles got, and I could imagine what he would get if he ever returns to the Royal Rumble in that building. It'll be insane. But in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, yeah, just as insane. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out the cool trailer for the Royal Rumble in 2026, then you can go ahead and head on over to the YouTube page of one man only known as WWE to check it out for yourselves. And in other news, and in news straight from my childhood books, that one that I didn't get a chance to read, for you fans out there of the said series of Dogman, well, and always wanted to see it on film, I got some good news for you. Because it's been announced that yes, they're going to turn Dogman into a film. And you know, I always saw this in the libraries as a kid, never got a chance to really pick it up. But one book I did pick up outside of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and I do believe Captain Underpants, I'm surprised they didn't make a movie for Busy Town yet. You know, it was on not Cartoon Network, it was on Nickelodeon for a while, but they never really turned it into a full-fledged film. That would have been nice to see. Hopefully that's next on the list, that or one for Dynamite. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out the cool artwork thus far for the said film of Dogman, then you can go ahead and head on over to the Twitter page of one man only known as Discussing Film to check it out for yourselves. And as a little bit of a heads up, this film will be making its way directly into theaters as of January 31st of 2025. Good way to wrap up the first month of the year. And with that said, folks, we now make our way on over to the concert information. And first up, we have none other for Wednesday, January 8th, none other than Galexalia? Or Galexalia? We'll go with the first one just in case, who's going to be performing at the Radio Music United Festival in Las Vegas, Nevada. At 5 p.m., Ripple All-Stars is going to be performing at the Bitter End in New York, New York. At 6 p.m., Trevor Finley is going to be performing at the Bootleggers Inn in Nashville, Tennessee. At 6 p.m., John Starr is going to be performing at the Bayside Restaurant in Newport Beach, California. At 6 p.m., John Hetzler is going to be performing at the Little Bar Restaurant in Goodland, Florida. At 6:30 p.m., you can also see Kevin Lamar, who's going to be performing at the Red Brick Tavern in Conroe, Texas. At 7 p.m., Jack Anderson is going to be performing at the Nolan's Pub in Safety Harbor, Florida. At 7:30 p.m., Jasmine Sky is going to be performing at the, and according to Colin the Maestro, the Untitled in Chicago, Illinois. At 7:30 p.m., JC and the Rockers is going to be performing at the International Blues Challenge in Memphis, Tennessee. At 8 p.m., and to finally wrap things up for Wednesday night, you can see Greg Fundies, who's going to be performing at Mom's Place in Chicago, Illinois at 9 p.m. And on Thursday, January 9th, you can see these following bands performing in a local area near you live. The C4 Band is going to be performing at the Bobby's Idol Hour Tavern in Nashville, Tennessee. At 12:30 p.m., Jewel and the Chrome Wheels Band is going to be performing at the Laguna Bob in South Padre Island, Texas. At 6:30 p.m., Prophecy the Prophet is going to be performing at the Radio Musicians United Festival in Las Vegas, Nevada. At 5 p.m., Mike Ketsterling is going to be performing at the Woodlands Tavern in Columbus, Ohio at 6 p.m. Buck Yeager is going to be performing at the Red Brick Tavern in Conroe, Texas at 7 p.m. The Petty Breakers, nice band name, is going to be performing at the House of Blues in Anaheim, California at 7 p.m. Nathan Bryson, the Loaded Dice, nice band name, is going to be performing at the Rev Room in Little Rock, Arkansas at 7:30 p.m. And to finally wrap things up for Thursday night, you can see Patrice Pike, who's going to be performing at the Saxton Pub in Austin, Texas at 8 p.m. And for Tuesday for next week, which is the 14th of January, you can see these following bands performing in a local area live near you. Carlo Acoustic Man is going to be performing at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles, Illinois at 5 p.m. Automatic Monster, Heather Mall, The Unswept, and Woody's Revenge is all going to be performing at the Des Plaines Theater in Des Plaines, Illinois at 6 p.m. Dan Bass is going to be performing at the Little Bar Restaurant in Goodland, Florida at 6:30 p.m. Nate Nielsen Acoustic is going to be performing at the Red Brick Tavern in Conroe, Texas at 7 p.m. Charlie Monroe, or according to Colin the Maestro, Chloe Demore. I guess they had the wrong band up. It's going to be performing at the Mint in Los Angeles, California at 7 p.m. 808 Imposters is going to be performing at the Hard Rock Cafe in Honolulu, Hawaii at 7 p.m. Nathan Stone is going to be performing at the Oxenfree Public House in Brookings, Oregon at 8 p.m. And to finally wrap things up for Tuesday for next week and all the bands we're going to mention for this week, you can see Milo Z, who's going to be performing at the Red Lion in New York at 10 p.m. If you guys want to go ahead and check out the complete list of bands that we couldn't list during this very broadcast, and trust me folks, there were a lot of them, you can head on over to ReverbNation.com to check out the complete list of bands that we couldn't list during this very broadcast. And while you're over there folks, check out a couple of their cool tunes. Trust me, they're worth the listen. Like we say at the end of all of these skits, go out there, support your local artists, and see these guys perform live. And trust me, they'll love you for it. I guess with that said, I think it's time for us to head back into that music one more time. And when we return, we'll be back with the final segment for the Tuesday Night Special for this week, right after this. So don't go watching those infomercials just yet, folks, and stay tuned. Well, all you Streetlight Crusaders, seeing the fact that we're fresh out of Streetlight Crusading oil for the night and we've got to get out of here to get some more for next week's show, we might as well bring the Tuesday Night Special for this week to kick off your year to an emphatic close. But don't worry, if you miss any of that Streetlight delight that we were able to give you for this week, we got you covered, because you can catch this show again one more time, all the time, on our SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr pages still all named the same, only known as Music Village Radio under the hashtag TuesdayNiteSpecial 521. And according to Carl and the Maestro, if Dan the Weatherman Stu was any later, that's what time the show would have finished. Yeah, and I got a feeling you were right, especially to get ready with that outfit. How long did it take for him to make? 5 hours and 21 minutes, of course. And if you guys want to figure out all the crazy and zany things we still got prepared for this year of the Fizz, like Dan the Weatherman Stu, more or less getting ready for the Academy Awards more than the weather, then you can go ahead and check it out on our YouTube, Discord, and Twitter pages, still all named the same, only known as the Double Agent 0012. Before we head out for the night, we would like to thank, as always, you the Streetlight Crusaders out there for listening in to a very special late night, year-starting, fun-fighting edition of the Tuesday Night Special. You guys and gals out there like what you heard, go out there and spread the word. You know what? Like Hong Kong Phooey after landing in that garbage can and bouncing off those tires on the first episode. Yeah, you know, the PR department knows where I'm going with that one, and don't you dare try to do that high jump kick he did. No, you're gonna break something, like a door, for example. And they're just giving me the thumbs up and sat back down. Right. And we would also like to thank you, the independent artists out there, for delivering that musical goodness like you always do. And keep up the great work, guys. And here's hoping your music gets featured during a timeless cartoon filled with plenty of karate action in it. And why? Because we believe in you guys. That's why. And speaking of people's music that definitely got the blood pumping for some karate action, we would like to thank our musical guest for this week, none other than Jason Klug with his said song of Pet the Dog that was featured during the intro. And of course, the song of Lunar Awakening that was featured during the Indy Report, thanks to Carl and the Maestro. And the song you're listening to right now from Carl and the Maestro as well, none other than the Late Night Cafe Wrap-Up that's wrapping up the show for this week as we speak for this week's edition of the Tuesday Night Special. Like always, guys, keep up the great work, and we can't wait to hear what you got coming down the tubes next. And finally, last but certainly not least, we would like to thank you, the independent gamers out there, for doing all those sweet video game hits, clips, and other things that was provided for this show to kick off the year. And as always, keep up the great work, and we can't wait to see what you got coming around the corner next, and you never know what show might be coming around the corner with it. Hint, hint. And I guess with everybody thanked, you guys out there, we go out. I'm DJ Smokey on behalf of Carl and the Maestro, and for you up-all-nighters, late-night drivers, insomniatic TV watchers, gamers, grapplers, and especially you Streetlight Crusaders, giving a roundhouse kick to the moon to kick off this year, the Fizz for this year, saying, man, crime fighting does get us in some tight situations. But most importantly, when there's smoke, there's fire. And we'll see you guys next week for a very special mid-month year-kicking edition of the Tuesday Night Special. But until then, go get some sleep, and good night, everybody.